Hello and welcome to the Life with Libby podcast. This podcast is all about empowering women to find their magic. This podcast is conscious-based and we'll be going into the very details of life that all women walk through. Enjoy. So in honor of my best friend's birthday today, I thought I would do a special thing for her and just some interesting facts. I just wanted to share some lessons that I learned from my best friend. We have been best friends for over 20 years. We've been best friends since we were 5 years old. So I don't know many people who have had a longer friendship, but I did read some article a while ago that said, if you're friends with someone for more than 7 years, that will be a lifelong friendship. So I'm pretty sure after 20 years of best friendship, we will definitely be best friends for the rest of our lives. Her daughter, Ava, is just the most special person, special girl in the world. I absolutely love her. And I, to God, do not know what I did to deserve the level of praise and adoration from this girl. But I'm telling you, my little Ava is my biggest hype girl. She is literally my number one fan. I adore her to pieces, so shout out Ava. But today is about my best friend, Flower. She is such a phenomenal woman. Wow, she is just so great. And just getting into these life lessons, you guys will, I hope, have an appreciation for her because she is just astounding. So lesson number 1 that I learned from my best friend is that love always forgives. There has been times in our relationship, in our friendship, as in many friendships and relationships where, you know, someone is not great. Someone is not living their best life. In fact, they are living in a way to bring other people down. Now, she taught me this lesson when I was probably 13 years old. I don't know why at this age. No, I was maybe 12. I can't remember. Anyways, around this age, we stopped being friends for a little bit. And it wasn't anything to do with her. I don't know why, but me and this other girl in our school, we just kind of teamed up against her and we just got so mean. And I don't know if it was just me trying to be cool and trying to be this girl's friend, but I was really mean to her. And just out of nowhere one day, I stopped talking to her. I was mean to her at school. I would make fun of her, to her face and behind her back. Shout out Flower, sorry if you didn't know, but yes, it did happen behind her back. And, one night we were at church, we were at our youth group, and we were something happened. We were making a card or something, and we just, in that instant, got back to being best friends. She never, ever once asked for an apology after I was horrible to her. Didn't even ask for it. It was like it wasn't needed for her to just take me back and love me wholeheartedly. And to just be like, girl, I got you. Yeah, you messed up, but you know what? I'm your best friend and I love you. And even though, she didn't understand why I was being so awful, I didn't understand why either. But I was being a really bad friend, and she just totally forgave me. And at that age, that was such a huge lesson in love for me, that somebody could wrong you so hard and you can still forgive them and move on. And that's what she did for me. So wow, love literally always forgives. And she took me back, and she didn't have to, and especially at that age, you could be so childish about it and so immature, and she just really, really took the high road. And I don't think we ever looked back from that. So then another thing that my best friend has taught me is that you can get knocked down 1,000,000 times and get back up even stronger than before. And I know that's cliche, but literally not everybody does that. Some people sulk in their, emotions of being upset by the wrongs that happened to them in their life. And yeah, life isn't fair. And sometimes people just get the short end of the stick. And I really think that, my best friend is someone who has shown that you can have a lot of shittiness happen to you and you can still be a loving person and you can still enjoy life and you can still move on from those things and be better for it. So I'm just going to touch on a couple things in her life that have happened without oversharing because they're not really my stories to tell. But when we were kids, actually right before we became best friends, she lost her dad very, unexpectedly at such a young age. And, that's something that a lot of people could say, well, God did this to my family. God took my dad away. And she was like, she dealt with that. She took that in and was like, okay, how can I move on from this? And throughout our whole life, she's never once used that as a crutch. She's never been like, oh, well, I don't have my dad. No, I've never heard those words come from her mouth at all, ever. And, I've even been like, oh, well, I've lost my grandpa. And of course, it's a very sad thing. But like this woman lost her dad so young and really was robbed of a father. But she's never, ever used that to hold her back from anything in her life. Another thing that happened in her life, she was 18 years old when she got pregnant. So we have an awesome 8-year-old. Now she is the pride of our lives. But like that was very, very scary for her to do. And, she really was like, okay. And she's never let it stop her either. She's never been like, oh, well, I have a daughter, so I can't live my dreams. That is not true. She even more so now is like, I have to be great so my daughter can see greatness. And I think that's really huge of a person to do, to really recognize that, like, I have this person who is looking up to me and I need to be a great mother, and not just a great mom, but a powerful woman. She has worked day and night. She has put herself through school. She's finished her practicum. She has graduated. She is starting her huge, massively successful career. And I am so proud of her. Like, so many of us, we're not there yet, and that's okay. Everyone is in your own timing. But I mean, at the same time, like, I don't have a kid, and it's like, oh, we're kind of like still in the same place in our life as we grow together. But she's done that while being a mom. Like, that is so amazing that she's been able to do both. She's been able to grow into her womanhood and grow into a powerful woman and also grow into motherhood and being there for her daughter. So that's just another huge way that she has shown me that, like, yeah, there might be things that try to come knock you down, but she gets up and she makes it like even more amazing. She takes the bad and makes it beautiful. And that something is so amazing. Another thing that she has taught me is that when you do get knocked down and you feel like you cannot get up again, there is somebody to be that strength for you to pull you back up. And there has been so many times that Flower has been that person for me. One of my favorite nights, I was a total wreck. I was dumped, but I was not accepting the breakup. And literally, I followed this guy all around the city that night to like be at the same bars that he was going to be at. And this girl paid for every single one of my cabs around all of downtown. She was like, hey, let's go. We're doing it. I made a total fool of myself that night. And, we laugh about it now. And the next day when I was just so broken from everything that happened, she just stayed with me and was just like, you know what? But she was there for me when I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do. She's like, okay, she might not have agreed with it, but she was there to like support me and see me through it. And then obviously when it didn't work out, because you cannot make someone want to be with you. And thank God, because, I'm very happily married now. But she was there. She was like my ride or die, you know? Like, that is something so special, and I'm so thankful that I have that with her. So, another lesson, I don't know what lesson this is, number 4 or 5, but doing what is right even when it's hard. So, something that happened in her life, so her baby daddy was not there, you know, and then he decided to come back later on, and that was a very difficult decision for her to say, okay, am I going to let this man back into my daughter's life when he, you know, screwed off on us before? How can I trust him? And that was like such a hard decision for her to make, to allow him back into her life. But honestly, it was so hard. She cried night after night about it. Her family was so against her because it was all out of love and all out of protection for her and for her daughter. But now, like, the relationship that her daughter has with baby daddy, it's so beautiful. And I am so happy for my little Ava that she has her dad in her life. And it has really been a life-changing thing, or a very life-changing, very dynamic changing to the family, because, you know, there's this whole other person in there that is also, you know, parenting and loving their daughter. But that was so hard for her because this man had hurt her so badly. Like, I had a very difficult time forgiving him and moving on from that and being like, okay, you know, he can be in our lives. And because I'm like, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving my baby girl anywhere. So that also means I have to be a part of his life now too. And he's going to be a part of mine. But she made that difficult decision for her daughter. She put her emotions and her feelings and her hurt aside so that her daughter could have a dad. And I know so many women who would not do the same. You hear story after story about children being kept from their fathers. And for what? It's so damaging to the child. It's another story or topic. But she really put herself aside and put her daughter first, even though that was such a painful moment for her. She was able to really do what was right when it was the hardest thing to do, and very scary to do, because, you know, how do you trust someone who screwed you over so badly, who hurt you more than maybe anybody else has? Wow, that is a freaking amazing, strong ass bitch. Okay, and the last one, which is really awesome, is that she has really taught me how to love and empower other women. This girl is friends with so many girls. Like, she has so many friends, and I don't even know how, because, like, how do you, I can't even keep track. Like, she's like, oh, this story and this person and this person and this person, and she truly, honestly loves, deeply loves all of these women in her life. You know, even when we were like 18 and going to the bars for the first time, she was always hyping me up, like, look at you go. Like, she would always hype me up dancing and, like, you look so good. And she never ever made me feel small. Never. She never had to do that. Like, she is so about lifting other people up. And I honestly believe that she had really sparked that inside of me to be a woman who empowers other women, to love other women, to be kind to other women. And just watching her do that, that's really like, it's changed my life. It's changed my perspective, really and honestly, because I've seen her do it time and time and time again. Even when girls have maybe done her dirty, she'll still be like, you know what? She's still my friend. And I'm like, girl, you, like, boundaries, like, get rid of them. She's like, nope, they're friends with my friends, and I'm going to love them through it. Like, such a strong woman, literally the strongest woman. And I guess this one will be the last but that life is meant to be enjoyed. I don't know anybody who has a better time doing anything at all. It could be just sitting in a coffee shop. Sometimes those can be a little boring. I'm not that kind of, I like to do that if I'm just working, but I'm not really the kind of person to meet up for coffee. I feel like it's really intense for some reason. You have to have a forced conversation. But she could make that be the funnest time of life. She has a way of just bringing joy into any scenario, into any situation. She literally is pure love and joy. And I wish every woman in the world a best friend like my best friend. Honestly, truly, I love her to the deepest depths of my being. And I definitely owe so much to her. She's really been there for me through every single moment of my life. There hasn't been a thing that she hasn't been there for. And I so love and appreciate her for that. And I just want to say happy birthday to my best friend Flower. You are such an amazing woman. So much power, so much passion, so much life. And, I admire you and I look up to you. You are so beautiful. And thank you for being in my life. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for putting up with me. And thank you for enjoying me and for embracing me. And thank you for never ever toning me down and just allowing me to be as wild as I am. I love you. Never change, but always grow. Happy birthday, Flower.